The governor of Illinois is warning if Donald Trump goes ahead with his plan to flood members of the National Guard and other federal agencies onto the streets of Chicago, the US president will be abusing his powers. He's already unleashed the National Guard on Washington, D.C., of course, to deal with what the president calls a crime wave, even though official statistics show that violent crime in the US Capitol is at a 30-year low. The president said on Friday he is planning to do the same in both Chicago and New York, both of them, like Washington, Democratic Party strongholds. I'm delighted to say we're joined this afternoon by Lynn Sweet, the Washington bureau chief for the Chicago Sun-Times, highly regarded writer here in Washington, D.C. Lynn Sweet, thanks very much indeed for joining me on the programme and for your patience this afternoon. Donald Trump's going to go ahead and do this, isn't he?
My analysis is President Trump acts first and deals with the legalities later. So my guess is, it's not a guess based on anything, on just what you said, on his past performance. I would expect some kind of troops, maybe Marines like he sent into Los Angeles, National Guard, to come to Chicago. Governor Pritzker last night put out a statement, and he said Donald Trump is attempting to manufacture a crisis, politicize Americans who serve in uniform, and continue abusing his power to distract from the pain he is causing working families. We will continue to follow the law, stand up for the sovereignty of our state, and protect the people of Illinois. So far, there is no official communication between President Trump, the city of Chicago, or the state of Illinois, or the Defense Department or any other military authority.
Yeah, I saw last night, Lynn, that the mayor of Chicago called the proposed action an unlawful deployment that is both uncalled for and unsound. On the issue there of the legality of all of this, when the president decided to put National Guard troops on the streets of Washington, D.C., he had quite a lot of leeway because he actually revoked part of the law that allows Washington, D.C., which is not a state, to govern its own affairs and basically took over policing and law enforcement in the state. How constrained would he be legally in Illinois, which is a state and which does have the right to govern its own affairs, not, simply by dint of the president's personal grace and favour? How much constraint does that place on his ability to do what he says he's going to do?
Well, it may not put the constraint that one might think in theory, because I'm dealing with reality here. President Trump flouts the law and ignores judicial rulings when he wants to. And that's what I think is going to cause a potential showdown if he sends troops to Chicago. It is not legal in the analysis of anyone with any authority in Chicago or the state of Illinois, because, as you said, this is going to be the test case because states are not the District of Columbia. They have far more power to handle their own affairs and to commandeer and command their own National Guard. In order to send Illinois National Guard troops to the streets of Chicago or anywhere in the state, the president first would have to federalize them. And yes, there's a procedure. And yes, there's a law in the United States called posse comitatus against sending active duty troops in. But we've already seen in Los Angeles that the president has sent in Marines on what officials call a pretext and what surely seems to be. And if he sends active duty troops to Chicago, it will be a pretext because no one has asked for them to be sent.
Lynn Sweet, I'm enormously grateful to you for your time today. Thanks so much for coming onto the programme. Lynn Sweet is the Washington bureau chief for the Chicago Sun-Times. And, of course, in broader political terms, what Donald Trump is trying to do through all of these deployments and proposed deployments is flood the streets of Democratic Party strongholds, Washington, D.C., New York, Chicago, maybe Los Angeles after that, maybe Baltimore. He wants to flood the zone with federal federal troops to brand the Democrats who run those jurisdictions as being soft on crime, even though in many of those jurisdictions they would turn around and point to crime statistics like the ones in Washington, D.C., showing violent crime at a 30-year low point.